Welcome to My Morning Cup, a podcast produced by Costa Media Advisors and brought to you by the generous support of the Tennessee Valley Authority. To learn more about TVA's impact on our community, follow TVA on Instagram at TVA and on Twitter X at TVA News. My Morning Cup, where we have interesting conversations with genuine people. I'm Mike Costa, your host. My guest this week is Dustin Choate. Dustin is the owner and operator of the Tremont Tavern, home of Chattanooga's best burger and satellite office to so many who love a good neighborhood tavern and a cold beer. Dustin, before you tell us the secret to Tremont's system of ordering from any waitstaff member and they still get the bill right, let me ask, what's in your morning cup?
My morning cup, I have electrolytes.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Is that just this morning or every morning?
Every morning.
Yeah?
Every morning, yes.
Is that something you mix up?
Yeah. It's just a little powder mixed into some water and,
Is that liquid IV stuff?
Something along that line, yeah.
When did you start doing that?
I've been doing that for a long time, and it's become very popular here recently. And but I've just been doing it for a long time. Just replace, I'm in the restaurant industry, so there's a fair amount of obliged drinking that happens. So you have to stay hydrated.
Well, your lifestyle's a little different.
It is.
You ever do coffee or no coffee for you, no tea?
Yeah, I do a couple cups of coffee as well in the morning.
Yeah, caffeinated.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The coffee makes you go, and then you got to have the water and the electrolytes to replace it. So
well, you've got your science experiment going.
I do every day.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. I am one of the proud tavernistas who really enjoy your place and everything you've done. So I'm excited to talk to you about it, learn a little bit more about it. As I told you before,
we appreciate you supporting the cause all these years.
Well, you're welcome. And my accountant will be in touch because we need an itemized of the last 10 years.
Yeah, if you and Roy and a few others decide to ever stop coming, it'll be at least a 5% decrease in our overall sales, I'm pretty sure.
Well, we were out of town a couple of years ago for a month, and we got a postcard from your staff that said, "Where are you?"
Please come back.
Yeah, please come back. Did we do something wrong? Well, as I said, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I always like to start at the beginning. So you're born in Athens, Tennessee.
That's right. Yeah. Born in 1972. I was there until age 3. My parents divorced and mom remarried, and we ended up in North Carolina.
So at the age of 3, you moved to North Carolina?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Winston-Salem.
Yeah. Any siblings?
Initially 3 from the original family, siblings. And then when my mom remarried, we added on 3 more.
Oh, wow. So two, Brady bunch.
A half brother and a step sister and a step brother. So definitely, dysfunctional Brady bunch.
So
not the thing you see on TV.
No, so there's 7 of us.
There's 7 of us.
All right, I'm one of 7 myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So is it blended family or?
No.
Wow. That's incredible.
Just some parents who were very tired all the time.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I can get that too. Both my parents came from large, nuclear families. My mom had 7 siblings and my dad had 11. So,
wow.
Yeah. So I had experience with that a little bit, before I jumped into it myself.
I bet your holidays were big.
They always were. Yeah. Holidays, a lot, big family gatherings, extended family. They were always great.
And I don't want to jump ahead to this, but I'm going to jump ahead to this. Big family, and I'm relating on my part. You're from a big family. Your parents are from big families. Your wife, the first time she goes to a big family function, is she looking around going, "Oh my God, what is this?"
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. She's like, "What in the world?" Because we're a lot of fun. We like to, we all like to partake in, some adult beverages when we get together, and we can get very loud. Yeah. And so it can be intimidating for someone coming in, but she's handled it like a champ.
So you grew up in Winston-Salem. Talk a little bit about growing up, big blended family, stuff you did with your siblings and everything, just like up through high school.
So And that day, you know, that was a different time than it is now. You know, we lived right outside of Winston-Salem and had about 40 acres there. And so that out in the country and, you know, grew up, you know, playing in the woods and doing, you know, and just having to be creative, you know, because you weren't in the city proper. And so when you're growing up in the country, you just kind of get creative and lots of sports as well.
Were you entrusted with a 22 that you could walk in the back acreage and shoot at rabbits or anything like that?
I had a very powerful pellet gun. Yeah. I never got a 22, but I did have a pellet gun that subsequently I got taken away for having a BB gun war with our neighbors. So
that's just natural.
It just happens, you know?
Just natural. So you grew up in 40 acres. You're kind of away from everyone. I imagine your relationship with your siblings, both blended and nuclear, were pretty close?
It was good. It was good. And we weren't all together at all times, you know. Sometimes, you know, some of my siblings were with my dad and some of my step siblings were with their mom. And so it kind of rotated around a little bit, kind of in and out. And
so as you were getting tired of someone new came in.
Yeah, pretty much, you know, somebody started acting out and had to get sent to live with the other parent, you know, or whatever. So
what were your interests growing up as a kid, besides just, you know, seeing what kind of trouble you could find on the 40 acres?
You know, big into sports.
Yeah.
That was, you know, growing up in rural America, you know, sports is your hinge, especially at that time. You know, maybe it's different now, but that was such importance. I played year round, played football, basketball, and baseball. So that was a big part of growing up.
What's your favorite?
Football.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was best at that.
Yeah. What positions?
I played defensive back and wide receiver, but primarily defense.
Wow. You must have been fast.
I wasn't that fast as much as I was quick. I was quick in short yardage, you know, here to 10 yards, but long speed was not that great. So,
well, see, that's what we used
to cap my upside.
That's what we used to say about offensive linemen. We're quick for that one step.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's all you need to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So did you play through high school?
Played through high school all the way through, yeah. So
did you have any summer jobs, part-time jobs while you were working, or was the 40 acres enough to keep you busy?
You know, out in that rural area, there were a lot of farms.
Yeah.
And so I, you know, well, two things that we did a lot on our own land is we cut a lot of wood. So we were constantly cutting, splitting, stacking wood for our furnace.
Oh, that kept it in shape.
Kept it in shape and humble.
Yeah.
And then I used to, you had kind of, if you wanted to make some extra money, you know, enterprising young man could make some money if he wanted to with that area. And there were two options. You could help your neighbors that were friends who had farms get up hay, or you could work in tobacco, which
North Carolina
was, you know, Tobacco Road. That was a huge thing.
Winston-Salem, 2 cigarette brands.
Yeah, exactly. And I chose to get up hay because doing the tobacco was really brutal.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
So talk about the hay thing. You said getting up hay bales. Exactly what is getting up hay bales?
So basically, you know, the farmers, they'll cut their hay, whatever grass that they're growing. Once it dries, they'll go through with a baling machine. It just picks it up and pulls it together and into a bundle, bales it, and drops it out the back end.
Not the big round things.
Not the big rounds with the small ones that you see.
So would you have to go put those on the trailer or put them in the barn? Or
so you would basically, you know, follow behind the trailer, or in front of it, I would say, as it moving along, and as it came by, you grab, throw up, and there'd be somebody up top that was taking it and stacking it.
Those are what, 40, 50 pounds each?
No, they're probably like 20.
Yeah, but still picking up 100 of them and
and they were just, you know, they would tear your legs up. They would just go right through those, like stick right through your jeans and just tear your legs up. But it was fine, you know. You're young
and kept you in shape.
It kept you in shape, yeah, and a little bit of money in your pocket. So.
Yeah. So you do that for your family, friends, and neighbors and stuff.
That's correct.
Any other like part-time jobs? What bit the restaurant bug for you?
So when I was 12, my father, who, you know, when my parents divorced, he stayed in Athens, and then few years later, maybe 6 years later or so, he moved to Knoxville. And so he had some friends whose family owned a lot of things up in Pigeon Forge, so water parks and restaurants. And so they had a son. There was a guy who was about, I don't know, 4 years older than me. He was probably 16. Yeah, he was 16. And, we'd become friends. And so he invited me up to stay for a couple weeks in Pigeon Forge when I was visiting my dad for the summer. And they put me, they let me go to work. They didn't put me to work. They let me go to work at Uncle Doc's Pancake House, which is not there anymore.
Is it not?
It's not there anymore.
Was this pre-Dollywood in the Silver City day? Silver Dollar City day?
Let's think here. I think she just had her 40th anniversary.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So that would have been about the time.
Right.
But I remember Silver Dollar City. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
That she bought that, but older folks will, like ourselves. And so they let me bus tables. While I was up there staying, and then they, just paid me, and then I took that money and went and did rides, go-karts and video games and things like that. So
enjoyed your summer.
Had a good time doing it, and so that was my first taste of being in a restaurant, and I don't know, I just loved it.
Yeah,
I just loved the action and the dynamics and people coming in and just all facets of it. I just thought it was so interesting.
There's a great camaraderie among the people who work in the restaurant, and then in between the front of the house and the back of the house.
Yeah. Yes. And then, and then you interplay with the people that come there, you got your regulars that come in and you get to meet them. And so that was my first taste.
So that was the summer when you were 12?
Yeah.
Did you continue to work in restaurants through there, or talk about your high school years?
Yeah, I didn't, that was just that one time that was just able to do that. And that opportunity didn't come up again in another summer. But when I was 16, I went to work at a restaurant close to my hometown. And, I wanted to serve because I'd seen, from my time that, you can make good money serving, but I don't think that they didn't think that I could do it, but I think they just wanted to take advantage of someone who was young and willing to do whatever. So they hired me as a dishwasher. So I had to take my lumps to get my foot in the door.
I took a similar path because I worked in restaurants all through high school and college, and started as a dishwasher. And I remember going to my manager at some point saying, I'd really like to be a waiter. And he looks at me and says, "No, you're back of the house."
You shouldn't have let him put you in the box.
Well,
but if you enjoyed the back,
I wouldn't call it enjoyed. But this was the late 70s, 80s when you can tell someone they were ugly.
I never would have. I wouldn't agree with that.
So high school, you're working in restaurants.
Yeah.
What did you learn from that experience? What besides the restaurant business? What was the lessons it was teaching you?
It was just teaching me to understand people. And get kind of start that. It was the early development of emotional intelligence. How to deal with people, how to give and take, how to work together as a team, how to deal with people when they're upset,
that's a key one.
So that was all training for life in general. And I've always said that I feel like everyone should have to work in a restaurant for 2 years. It should be mandatory, or some sort of service industry where they're dealing with people.
Yeah. Public facing
businesses. And it would help people if they did.
Yeah, because
they would also, it would help them to understand what to expect and have realistic expectations of service industry business.
And some empathy.
Yeah. Because it's tough. It's hard work.
The reality is a waiter or a cook doesn't want to screw up your order. It's a mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll get it right.
Yeah, for sure. So
high school, you're working, you're playing sports. What do you decide about college?
So had always had aspirations of going to college. didn't know exactly what I wanted to do for sure. But at that, during that time, you could go, to college and get really into any degree and it'd be fine. You didn't really have to know what you wanted to do. So
just needed a degree.
Just needed a degree. And I just decided to study, things that were interesting to me, psychology, political science. I had a double major in those. I went.
That had to help you with people skills.
It did. It did tremendously. Yeah. Continued development on that front. But I went to Appalachian State up in Boone, and that was a great experience. It was a really at that time it was considered one of the best values in education in the country because it was very inexpensive to go there. It's not anymore. It's very difficult to get in.
Is it really?
And much more expensive than what it was.
I've never been up there, but I understand it's beautiful.
It is. It's gorgeous. It's a great setting to spend your 4 or 8 college years.
4 or 8.
Yeah. Some of my friends have never left. They're still there. So
yeah. Well, my goal was to get 5 football seasons, and I got 5 football seasons.
Yeah, I stayed 4.5. I only took 6 hours that last semester. I could have taken them in the summer, but why rush it? You got the rest of your life to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, App State, you political science, psychology. Were you working at those times?
Yeah, I was working. I would work some during the school year. It was kind of limited because it was very, busy with classes. So I just worked a little bit serving at different restaurants. I started DJing in high school.
Like live DJing or on the radio?
Live DJing for birthday parties, weddings, really anything, any sort of celebrations. So I kind of leaned on that more in college as because it was just not as time consuming and the money was real good. So
did you have a DJ name?
Just my name. I didn't have I didn't have anything. It was just DJ Dustin. I didn't have like
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, nothing like that.
So
I had some nicknames, DJ nicknames that my fraternity brothers gave to me that I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
This is a family show.
Yeah, I can't repeat those. So,
is there any chance we'll have a DJ Dusty night at Tremont where you can?
Probably not. I thought about that back in the day.
But does your staff know this?
Some of them, some of them do. Yeah, some of them do.
Okay.
Yeah. I had thought about doing that back in the day, but I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why I never did.
Yeah. Well, you're still young. You got
it's fun. A good time. Yeah.
So at Appy State, you're making money DJing. You're making money in restaurants. You get out of school. What do you do?
So I studied psychology and political science. And initially, I really thought political science was first, and I thought I really wanted to pursue a career in politics. But I learned enough about politics studying it that I did not want to enter that arena.
Yeah.
So I added on psychology, and my first job was I went to work at the Methodist Children's Home in Winston-Salem as a counselor. And
it sounds like an abrupt change from the path you were on.
Yeah. I had a good friend and a mentor who told me before I graduated that if I didn't do something with my life where I was helping people, that I would not be happy.
Wow.
That was just his insight of me, like as a person and who I was, kind of this external thought, which I always kind of had thought I would go the business route or something like that. And so I did that and, spent 4.5 years at the children's home. And I was very idealistic too in my younger years too. I did not care about money. I just wanted to do good things and do good things for people.
What a great way to be though.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what happened to that guy.
I think he's, I think he's still here. So what did that teach you? What did that give you? I mean, 4 years of doing that, a lot of people, I'll say a lot of people get out with a sociology degree and get into social work. And after a year or two, either get burnt out or realize that's not the career path for them.
Yeah. Yeah. It it will do that to you. And I felt after 4.5 years, during that time, I got my master's degree in social work.
Okay.
The place I worked, as long as you were there a certain amount of time, they would pay for you to go to school. And so that was a great thing.
And that was where, at UNC?
Yes. Yeah. UNC. I took the first 2 years, it was part-time. The first 2 years, it was a satellite program through UNC Charlotte. So I'd drive down to Charlotte 2 days a week for classes. And then the last year, 2 days a week and driving down to UNC.
How far was the drive for you?
Only about an hour and a half. It's
that's
not that far.
Not bad, but still, you're investing a lot of time. You're out of school, you're working, and you're trying to get a degree, and you got to drive 3 hours round trip to
but
continue to pursue that.
It was totally worth it. I mean, it's great education, great school. To the chagrin of my parents, my stepfather played baseball at NC State. So it was did not sit well with him that I was on track to graduate from UNC with a master's degree.
Pretty fierce rivalry.
It is big time. No, he's very proud of that. Regardless of sports rivalry, it's a great school, and I learned a great deal there.
And you get your master's, you're pursuing your master's, you get your master's. What was your ultimate goal with that? What did you think you would be doing once you got that master's?
So I thought initially that I wanted to be in counseling, on the front lines. And during that time, I really realized that that was not my forte. I was not fully comfortable in the counseling role. With the kids I was, but with the parents, because we required parents to be involved in the counseling with the children.
That makes sense.
I was not very good at that. And maybe it was just my age. I don't know, but
was it an intimidation thing, you think?
Yeah, a little intimidated.
Parents and tell them, look, this is what you need to do with your kid.
Yeah, tough. It's really tough doing that. But I learned during my studies that there's all different levels of involvement in social work. And so I changed my focus to community management and planning. So, more behind the scenes type stuff, fundraising.
Okay.
Being activists for different causes, community management. So I kind of shifted things there. I had plans of just continuing in that line of study, more, behind the scenes type stuff. But once I graduated, I stayed at the children's home, I don't know, probably another 6 months after I graduated. And I just was really burnt out. Yeah. I was really burnt out.
Well, that's got to be mentally and emotionally just wearing on you.
It does. It's really hard. You come to the conclusion that you put all this, time and work and energy into trying to help kids and their families turn their lives around. And really, the success rate is very small, out of all that time. I can think of, handful of kids I dealt with that I felt like that we made an impact with and we broke the cycle.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of kids, there was, hundreds of kids we saw during that time.
Yeah.
So that's disheartening, in a lot of ways.
Well, and a young guy and pretty idealistic, it's got to wear on you.
Yeah, it did. It did. So, so after that, I went to work at MCI WorldCom. My sister was working for them, and I wanted to kind of give my a stab at
phone people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, out of Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
What was that guy's
name?
Bernie. Yeah. What's his
I
last
can't
name?
remember his last name.
Yeah. He was on top of the world.
He was. He was pretty interesting. His story is very interesting. And, kind of went very small and all of a sudden, merged with
MCI
WorldCom. And, anyway, I did that for about 3 years. My sister was in it and they were booming at the time.
What were you doing? Selling?
I was in sales. Yeah. And, but it didn't take long to figure out that there was something amiss. and I'm sure you remember.
It was a bit of a pyramid scheme, wasn't it?
Something along those lines. It was not well.
No, because he grew really fast, and I remember people swearing by it, and you got to get in on this, and it's going to make all the money in the world, and then all of a sudden the air went out of it.
Yeah, I knew something was wrong whenever they stopped having coffee available in the break rooms. They said it was to save the company $3 million a year to not have coffee in the break rooms. And I'm like, something's not quite right.
Yeah, there's probably other areas you could find $3 million
Yeah.
coffee in the break room.
So that was a short-lived experiment into
but
the corporate world.
What'd you take from that?
That was my first thought that the corporate world wasn't for me.
Yeah.
That was not really my cup of tea per se.
Yeah.
The
structure
and everything.
The focus on we're going to go sell this. And
yeah. The quotas, the whatever you've done previously is never enough. Like it's the constant grind.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, I don't know if this is really, my cup of tea. So.
How old are you at this time?
I was probably 26 to
so young guy.
29. Yeah. 26, 28, somewhere around in there.
You do the corporate thing. You realize this may not have been the best situation. Where does that take you?
Yeah. So started looking for other opportunities. Had a friend that was working for the American Diabetes Association, and they were hiring for folks for fundraising coordinators. And so it's just started interviewing, and strangely enough, the opportunity that popped up was for Knoxville. Knoxville office, but it was for the Chattanooga area manager. But they had just had one office in Knoxville for the whole East Tennessee. And so that's what brought me back to Tennessee, which I was kind of excited to come back,
Because Athens isn't far.
Yeah. And still had a lot of family here, aunts and uncles, cousins, friends of the family. Sister lives in Knoxville. Brother lived in Knoxville at the time. So it was good to just get back to Tennessee again.
You remember what year that was?
That was 97.
Okay. So you got here a few years ahead of me, where the aquarium had been built and some good things were happening.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily where we are today, but it's not where Chattanooga was 50 years ago.
But it was exciting whenever I moved here or moved to Knoxville and started seeing what was happening in Chattanooga with the aquarium and other things. It was very exciting to see all that, transpiring.
Yeah.
Because I remember Chattanooga, as a kid, because when my dad remarried, his daughter was in school. His stepdaughter was in school down here. Mm-hmm. And so I remember coming here and just not having the best impression.
No, it was an ugly place, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I just kind of remember it being not nice and kind of felt like it's kind of dirty a little bit.
Yeah. Drive through, get your gas and go.
Yeah. So I was very surprised once I, came back around and saw, what was happening on, over off Tremont Street, North Shore, and the aquarium downtown and all the downtown revitalization. I was like, wow, there's good things happening here.
So you were living here, but reporting to Knoxville.
That I was living in Knoxville and
coming here
and driving to Chattanooga for fundraising efforts. It wasn't ideal.
Yeah, that's a little bit longer drive than an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think they finally put an office here, and the person that's working on that now is in town. But at that time, it was, I guess, it was to save cost,
right? To
try to centralize office time.
So your responsibility was to raise money in the Chattanooga area, and how often were you coming to town, and what was it? Mainly networking and finding people that would be good to approach.
Yeah, connecting with all the people that had already been involved before, and then trying to grow that into new businesses for support and fundraising. We did the Walk for Diabetes, the Walk for Life was one of the events, and then the Tour de Cure bike ride. So I came into that maybe. I'm trying to remember here, or maybe I started that fresh. I don't think there had been one here. I think
still going on?
I don't know. I haven't heard about it.
But I remember when I was going, because wasn't it like 110 miles or something like that?
Yeah, it was 150 miles round trip, and it was we had gone to Rome, Georgia, and back, and then to Athens and back. As we did those over the years, but that was a lot of fun. Met great people, a lot of great people are in Chattanooga in the diabetes community.
How many years did you do that?
Let's see. I think I did that for about three years.
And you're living in Knoxville, but basically working Chattanooga.
Yeah.
So what gets you to move to Chattanooga?
So at that point in time, you start, meeting I met a lot of people. I started to meet a lot of people that were in pharmaceutical sales.
Yeah.
And that was kind of intriguing. You'd heard about, this pharmaceutical sales thing, and you're entertaining doctors and you're going out and educating on your products, and I've heard you make some really good money. And so I had background in neuroscience from my time at the children's home. We'd had a lot of kids that were on medications, and I did a lot of meetings with psychiatrists and counselors. So there was a lot of knowledge learned on that front, and then obviously with the Diabetes Association as well. And I learned a great deal about diabetes. So I kind of had built this resume that was kind of the perfect resume for a company called Eli Lilly.
Yeah.
And because there were two main things. And so I can't remember how I ended up kind of heading in that direction per se. I don't know if it was someone I met or, but decided to see if I could parlay my experience into that, because I thought, well, this is something where I could help people and, make money, make good money also. As you get a little bit older, your idealism as far as money wanes a bit, and you start thinking about how I can, make a better financial life.
Well, yeah, you've got a whole life ahead of you, and you're always going to need money.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I ended up interviewing, and before you know it, get a job offer for Chattanooga, and that was 2003.
So you moved here in 2003.
Yeah, I moved here in 2003 to do pharmaceuticals.
Talk a little bit about that, and kind of what that exposed you to, and what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and what you learned from it.
Yeah. So started in pharmaceutical sales, selling neuroscience drugs for them, and I really enjoyed the getting out there and meeting people, meeting doctors, staff, connecting with folks. Met a lot of people.
Well, you seem like you like to connect. You got a personality that is very opening, and you just like to learn about people.
I do. I really like to get to know people and their stories, and what, where they come from, and strange enough, it's just a small world. You start talking to people and you realize all the, the connections that are there, the kind of the wider network of connections. Well,
and you realize we've got more commonalities than differences too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's something that's lost on people these days.
Well, maybe we can bring it back. That'll be our mission.
We'll talk about that on the next show.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. How many years did you do drug sales?
I did that for about 3 years.
3 years,
and I liked it pretty good for the most part. But you kind of go back to my experience at MCI WorldCom, where you're out there helping folks, and you're have some great medications with a great company, but at the same time, it's not it's not all just there's still the quotas and all those things, and it once again the grind of just going out there and working your butt off and doing really well, and then next thing you know, you've got this quota that's gone through the roof, and you've got to take your sales up to another level. And I guess became disenchanted with it a bit, because the idea of quotas and doing work to help people didn't jive in my brain. Yeah,
it didn't mix. And related to the quotas, it doesn't matter what the ancillary circumstances are. You still got a budget. You got to make your budget. I don't care that this just happened.
Yeah, or that just happened. And no matter how well you've done in the past, it's never good enough. So you have to constantly be gaining more market share, and and if you're gaining market share, you're taking away from someone else, and maybe for certain instances, this person's drug is better than the one I have. So there was some some internal conflict. Yeah.
So you've done the corporate thing twice. You're in Chattanooga. You're living in North Chattanooga. Not disenchanted, but it's like, is this really what I want to do?
Correct.
Where's your head in that you go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open a neighborhood tavern.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
I mean, because people see pharmaceutical reps as, man, they got they got a great job.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, most definitely. Like that was the view of, friends and family. And, at that point, by that point in time, I'd been out 12 years trying to find what it is, what I'm meant to do, what I'm meant to, do as a profession.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing I'd tried had really resonated fully. And I just got to thinking about the time that I spent in restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
And how much I enjoyed that. But never, ever, ever considered it as a career. It kind of took me getting out into the world and trying other things
Mm-hmm.
to kind of come back to this place I started.
Yeah.
And I just saw a real opportunity here in Chattanooga. When I was in school at App State up in Boone, we were, towards my senior year, craft beer was really starting to go big. Ashford, couple hours down the road, epicenter of craft beer world. We have 30 breweries there now, I believe. Back then they had a bunch as well. But so I got exposed to craft beer as a junior, senior, and in college, and then a lot of the places I worked after that were kind of in Winston-Salem featured craft beer. And so I really had gotten to learn a lot of the ins and outs of the craft beer world. And when I moved here to Chattanooga, there was nobody doing anything. I won't say nobody.
Chattanooga Brewing was probably just starting, wasn't it?
No, that had not happened yet.
That did not?
That actually sprang from Tremont. A couple of our regulars, But at the time, only Taco Mac downtown was the only place that had that featured craft beer.
And they were out of Atlanta, weren't they?
And they were out of Atlanta. It wasn't a local thing, so any of the local spots were all just kind of basic domestic, type setups. And I just saw an opportunity. I knew it was going to come eventually, and just saw the opportunity and I've been driving by the space where Tremont is for a year and a half, and it was sat empty.
Yeah. Wasn't there a restaurant in there prior? I remember eating there at one time, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was, initially it was Darris's restaurant.
Yeah.
He had a restaurant on one side where the old Tremont side, and then the new Tremont side, he had the furniture store, antique store.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So he did that. And then I think he stepped out and sold it to a partner. He changed the name to Bazookas.
Okay.
And I can't remember how long it was open, maybe a year before it closed down.
So you're living in North Chattanooga, driving by it, you're saying, I got to do something different. Restaurants keep popping up, and you see this space. Why did you think that was a perfect space?
Well, just I thought the building was really cool. Kind of old, old. I like old buildings. They have so much character. So it had a lot of character to it, and I also just knew by living in North Chat that it was a great, a great community. You have North Chat and Riverview all here together, two really good communities that obviously Riverview is very, very established. North Chattanooga was in a kind of a transition phase at that time, and you could just see where it was going. Yeah. And it was just like, from my experience back in Winston-Salem, very similar setup to a lot of the neighborhood bars that I worked in there.
What is the reaction from your friends and family when you say, I'm going to leave this Eli Lilly job, and I've found this old building in North Chattanooga, which hadn't turned yet, was starting to turn, and I'm going to go all in? I mean, are they looking at you going, Dustin, you might want to rethink that, or follow your dreams? Yeah,
everybody was like, for the most part, everybody was like, I understand why you want to do it, but you have such a great job with your pharmaceutical sales, and do you really want to give that up? And so there was varied reaction to it, but the biggest reaction was from my mother, and I quit my job first before I told her.
Well, I was just getting ready to ask if you kept your job and opened it, or you burned the boats.
I did. I burned the boat. I burned the life raft and went all in on that. And I quit my job. And a week later, after I quit, I told my mother, because I was afraid if I told her beforehand that she might be able to convince me to do otherwise, because she's pretty persuasive. So I waited till after I quit, and I knew that she would be upset, but I didn't think she would be as upset as she was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was a total meltdown.
Oh wow.
I mean, 5 days, I think, if I remember correctly, it felt like that we just kind of went radio silent with each other. And then she reached out to me, and she gathered herself, and she says, "Listen, I just want you to know that we're here to support you in any way that you need on this venture. And when it doesn't work out, you are welcome to move back home with me and your dad, and you can stay here as long as you need to and get back on your feet."
That's two things. That's beautiful and wonderful that your mother's supporting you, but it's also predetermining that you're not going to make it.
Yeah. But also it's great motivation.
That's what I was just getting ready to ask you.
Yeah. That was a great motivation. Like, whoa, is that what is on the other side of this if it doesn't work out?
Yeah.
I can't let that happen.
Well, and obviously you've got that, because I bet you when you're starting out and things are tough, you got your mom's voice in the back of your head saying, "You could always come stay with you."
Oh yeah. Oh, great motivator. Motivator.
Yeah. So talk about that first year. You open up, and was it an immediate hit?
It was. We had great uptake. The people that I'd met in pharmaceutical sales, made a lot of great friends during that time. They knew a lot of people. The word spread. So we hit the ground running, and it was really good. We kind of slowly ramped up the food side of things. So we didn't have the full menu like we did today. We just had a very small menu, and we've grown that over time. Well,
and let's talk about the food for a second, because I think and I know we're focused right now on Tremont, and you've got other restaurants, but Tremont's got a reputation of a favorite neighborhood bar, dive bar, that kind of thing, that has tremendous food, particularly the burgers, but everything there is good. How did you develop that, and where did the recipes come from? And then a very important question that Madison had is, how do you get your name on a burger, and why does Chuck Fisher have a name on his burger?
Okay. So yeah, all my experience in restaurants has always been in the front of house. So I knew about customer service and ambiance and, creating a vibe and all that. So, I had a friend, from back home that moved here, helped me, get the food side up and running. We had a bit of a falling out, so we parted ways. But I was very, very lucky that the fate brought a person named BJ Hightower into my life, and he is responsible for the food at Tremont Tavern as it is today. His genius of food. He's really very, very talented chef, and really what he allowed us to do was to create a menu that was what we kind of consider gourmet bar food, using really good ingredients and really good quality meats and breads, and and making things in house as much as possible. Dressings and edamame dip. All these things that we've done and created. And there's other people that along the way that have contributed to that, but he's the one that's been held it all together, and he's still with me to this day. He came in probably 3 years after, and was, that's when because we weren't selling much food at all during that early time.
When it elevated.
Yeah. He helped me to elevate the food side.
Was one of the lessons from working in restaurants knowing your place? And what I mean about that, you knew the front of the house and said, I really got to get someone to understand.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I've always been one that knows my strengths. I know my weaknesses, and you surround yourself with people. I'm always trying to surround myself with people that are better than me at at things that I'm involved in.
Quickest way to success. Isn't it?
And I don't have an ego about what I've done or the success I've had. A lot of the success I had is because of other people, and so I think a very humble approach to it. To success and failure as well. I've had my failures, along the way. One I didn't even, thinking back, I didn't even mention. I can allude to that in a moment. But you asked about how do you get your name on a burger? Well, you have to spend an inordinate amount of time inside Tremont. Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. Yeah, Chuck. Chuck was there a lot in the early days, and he would be there on days when nobody else was. Or just a handful of people. There was time. In the early days, you have some busy times and you have some real slow times, and so Chuck and I just got to be tight. In the early days, and he also became a lawyer.
Yeah.
So you had that fact that he's.
Well, it's a good burger too,
and it's a great burger. We were sitting there one day. I remember it. We're sitting there, and he's down at the end of the old bar, and I'm bartending that day. And I think I was actually even sitting, because we were so slow. I was just sitting on the back bar, and he just got back from a trip, and he goes, "Man," he goes, "I had this amazing burger," and he described it all. And so, and I can't remember who, if it was BJ there at that time. This might have been before BJ. He was definitely our first named burger. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, "Yeah, dude." I was like, "Let's get it." And we ran it as a special, and the uptake was crazy. It sold, and it's been on the menu ever since then.
You mentioned a little bit earlier. You open, it's immediate success, you're having success, but you mentioned failures. Can you talk about a failure?
Yeah. So having great success, when that happens, opportunity comes knocking. Mm-hmm. And so an opportunity came knocking for another location. A couple people that I knew were like, "Hey, we got this great location. We think you need to do something down there as well." So I was young, and didn't have quite the discretion that I have now after years of learning, and so I thought it was a great idea to open another restaurant 6 months after Tremont.
That's
and
quick.
So we opened Market Street Tavern.
Is that where Community Pie is?
Where Community Pie is now, and what it ended up doing. When it was all said and done, it was just it basically overextended. Yeah, on mentally, physically, and financially, and so they just got to the place where it was obvious that one or both weren't going to make it, and so after a long difficult time, ended up shutting Market Street Tavern down.
Well, I'm glad you chose that one.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm a mile from Tremont.
Yeah, so I closed it down to put all focus and energy into Tremont.
But what a great hard lesson.
Hard
lesson, but a great lesson, because I fast forward a little bit when you come to expand, and then not just expand the rest of the Tremont, but expand into other ventures like Parkway, Pourhouse, and Feed and things like that. In expanding Tremont, and I remember when you were going through this, saying, I got tired of seeing people turn around and leave because they couldn't get in, and you expanded out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that process a little bit. Then I want to get into your other restaurants, but the process of expanding into that space and being able to feel that it's not an addition. You walk into what I call the new side now. Yeah. It doesn't feel like a new side.
Yeah, no, not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. It definitely did back then because, people just kind of got used to the coziness of the old side, and we'd pack that out and people, elbows to elbows in there. And there was some good times, but,
we talked about table hovering.
Yeah, it was even more, even more prevalent at that point in time. But yeah, after we kind of recovered from the Market Street thing, then and business, got really, really good. And you got to where you were just, packed to the gills almost every day.
Yeah.
Then that's your obvious
sign.
cue that, that expansion is in place, and you're not going to overextend yourself by committing the financial resources to the expansion.
So you learned that lesson.
Yeah. So I just, after the Market Street, I just became very conservative in my actions as far as, expansion or,
conservative or deliberate?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. Just, okay.
Yeah.
I learned this.
Yeah. Well, I was just, I was, my early days, I was very much a fly by the seat of my pants type of person.
Yeah.
I would just go with feeling and not as much with critical thinking.
Yeah.
And so now the current version of me is a balance of those two.
Yeah. And that's an experience thing, learning those hard lessons.
Yeah.
So you expand Tremont, but you also expand into the different type of restaurants you're in. How did all those come about?
So mainly, after settling in to getting, Tremont stabilized, thriving, growing that, I was ready to, be open to other opportunities. And I had met my business partner now, or one of my business partners, Miguel Morales, in the early days before Tremont. He moved to town to do to be the managing operator at Carrabba's over at the mall. And we met at my next door neighbor's birthday party. My next door neighbor worked for him. And so we just hit it off big time. And that night we were like, I told him, I'm like, I'm going to open a bar down the street. And he's like, I just moved here for a Carrabba's thing, but he's, his long-term plan was to have his own place. So we kind of had a few beers that night and just had a dreaming session.
Yeah. Found some commonality.
Yeah. Found some commonality. And so we decided that night, one of these days we're going to do something together. And that's probably the beers talking, but it actually came to fruition. So Miguel had left Carrabba's to open 1885 Grill. That I wasn't at. We had discussed me getting involved with him on that, but I was not ready financially to make that jump, but he was ready to pull the trigger. There was a lot of changes going on at Carrabba's, and he was ready to get out. And so, but we did connect ourselves, the marketing for Tremont and 1885 during that time to lay the foundation for future endeavors.
Well, that makes sense. It gives you an opportunity to work together and kind of see if this is going to work. Yeah.
We did some catering. We did a lot of caterings together, getting out there, and we would set up, and do food for events as Tremont and 1885. And so we did a lot of that and laid the foundation for
that's smart.
The table and tavern at Feed. So basically, you're bringing the best of Tremont, the best of 1885 together underneath one roof at Feed. Yeah. So you got the table that kind of represents 1885, and it's more, dining, restaurant type feel. And then you have the tavern side, which is representative Tremont.
Yeah. And you hit on a great location before it really got hot, kind of like you were in North Chattanooga.
Yeah.
You get over on Main Street there.
Yeah. South side was.
Because you were really the first true restaurant down there. I mean.
Well, I think Clyde's went in before us.
Did they?
Yeah, they were in before us. They were already there. Yeah. So but there wasn't much. There wasn't much.
Tanya was there. Had been there for years.
Bluegrass Grill was down there, but there wasn't much.
Yeah, you guys were pretty early.
Yeah. So very fortunate to get to a good spot, and so we've been. That was 2015. So we just had our 10-year anniversary at Feed.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And when did Parkway Pourhouse come about?
We opened Parkway in 2018.
So that's coming up quick too.
Yeah. So we're just a few years off from 10 years on that.
What's next?
Getting my life organized.
Hey, you got a 3-year-old. I know what's next.
Yeah. Really, the past year, the the businesses are doing well enough for the most part for me to take a little bit of time to focus on the home front. I just feel like for years I've just kind of neglected the home front. It's kind of chaos, and so I've spent a lot of time organizing my garage here recently.
That's such a guy thing.
Organizing my office. Well, it's gotten to the place where I can't go forward anymore until this is settled.
Yeah.
I cannot mentally, my space, my home space needs to be fully organized for me to be able to think about doing anything else.
I get that.
So that's just kind of where I am right now. I'm trying to have a better life-work balance and make sure my home life is where I need it to be to support any business endeavor. So,
well, that balance is so important. You could be kicking butt at work and getting all the accolades and making a ton of money. And if your home life ain't right, it ain't good.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. So that's been really nice. I'm feeling much clearer, mentally clean. An organized home space is good for your mental clarity, and so I'm feeling much better on that front. Man, once I get through, I keep a to-do list on my phone, and it's quite long. And once I get it down to be about a third of the size it is now, then I'll
pick up something else.
I'll consider other opportunities.
That makes sense.
But I've just neglected that other stuff too long, and I've just got to get it in order before I do anything else.
Makes all the sense in the world.
So the only thing I could think of going forward potentially, I've kind of put, Tremont on the back burner as far as expansion opportunities or new locations. Kind of put that on the back burner to do feed, and then the Parkway opportunity came along that where we brought my GM at Tremont, George Llewellyn, on as a business partner. So we did that with him and for him, and then Frazier 5 and Dime. I forgot
space,
about
Frazier 5 and Dime. Yeah,
that space came available during the pandemic, and that was a space that we always kind of
it's a great space.
Yeah, so focusing on that right now, and we'll also, before moving on to anything else, we'll just make sure that Frazier 5 and Dime's 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see, potentially maybe some Tremonts in the future, get outside of downtown into some neighborhoods. Yeah. Maybe like Signal Mountain, East Brainerd area. We have a lot of people from outside downtown that are fans that would like to see us.
You can't go to Signal.
Why is that?
Because Roy and I always meet Chip Baker, and Chip lives on Signal. If you put one on Signal, he won't come down.
He won't come down here. He'll never leave the mountain.
No. I mean, he doesn't get off enough as it is, only for commission meetings. So Signal's, it's off the table.
Okay. All right. We'll shelve that one.
Good. So before I get to my last question, Dustin, I need to remind our listeners who makes all this possible. And it's thank you to the Tennessee Valley Authority for sponsoring My Morning Cup. Follow TVA on social media to learn more about its multifaceted mission of service, and visit TVA.com/do-good-here to explore exciting TVA career opportunities. All right, last question for you. What would you tell that 25-year-old Dustin Choate is important for a happy life?
I would tell him, slow down, use better discretion on on life-changing decisions.
Yeah.
Not be such a shoot from the hip type of person. Plan better, be more proactive, educate yourself more. I've had to learn on the fly for, mistakes I've made, and it would just have been a lot easier on my mental health and physical health to have approached it a different way. But that's hindsight 2020, But if sometimes it takes the leap of faith just to jump out there.
Yeah. And if you'd approached it a different way, would you be in a different place?
Maybe. And, and sometimes if you wait for the perfect moment, it never comes. So there is that balance, of both sides of that.
Well, you're in a pretty good spot, and I know for guys like me and people who enjoy your places, we're in a good spot, and really love hearing your story.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me today. I always find it difficult to discuss myself, but you made it easy.
Well, that's nice to hear. I appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing you at the tavern.
And we appreciate you supporting the good cause all these years.
Well, my accountant's wondering who this Tremont guy is.
Tell him I said thank you.
I will. Thanks, Dustin.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for listening to My Morning Cup, a podcast by Costa Media Advisors. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend. I release a new episode each week, so be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple, Google, or wherever you listen to podcasts.